Activism. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk about is the Zapatistas. The Zapatistas are a group of indigenous Mexican folks who, like, what is it? 1/3 of Mexico is made up of indigenous populations, Native American or Indian populations. And the Zapatistas represent like a small group of this that was upset at the government of Mexico. And in 1994, they actually had an open rebellion against it, against the government, where they took over certain cities. That's not as interesting as their use of new media to get their message out. After the sort of the violent uprising, they abandoned violence as sort of a means of getting their message out. The first project that I want to talk about is called the Zapatista Tactical Flood Net. It was written by Brett Stahlbaum and a group who practice electronic civil disobedience. And this was written back in the 90s as well. So you have to understand that a lot of our understanding of the World Wide Web didn't exist at this point. So what this piece does, or what this software does, is it provides a website where a person can go to and engage the software, and it will repeatedly reload a web page. What the effect of this is that a web server can sort of crumble under a tremendous amount of traffic. Now, this sounds like a distributed denial of service attack, and in fact, it is a distributed sort of attack on a website. But the difference between the DDoS and this is a group of people, a large group of people, deciding that they want to use their presence and their activity on the web to make commentary. So typically what they'll do is they'll take and they'll choose a site and they'll choose a time, and this will inconvenience the people who are trying to get access to that site. But one of the other ways they do this is that they will go to pages that don't exist, and they will leave like sort of a trace in these weblogs that, like for example, they went to the Mexican consulate's website and they left the names of the people who were killed in the 1994 uprising. One of the other artists that deals with this very significantly is Ricardo Dominguez. And recently he had an issue where he and his students in the Electronic Disturbance Theater and Bang Lab had set up sort of this virtual sit-in performance against the UC system because they were protesting the rise in tuition and the sort of the disenfranchisement of students in the process. Along lines of like sort of dealing with this and several other projects that Ricardo had worked on, there was a movement to have Ricardo's tenure removed, to have him sort of like kicked out of the university. Recently he basically won at this. So the point is that the behavior of this sort of thing, where it may be legal, and in fact it has been said to be legal, is very close to or looks very much like something that's not legal. I think that the parallel between this and a real-world sit-in are very appropriate. If you talk about sitting in and going to a government institution or a government office with 100 or 1,000 of your closest friends and sitting down, individually the action may not be illegal, but suddenly when there are hundreds or thousands of people, it becomes a significant disruption. So moving on to this group has also taken and adopted the idea of like identity correction. And in the process of doing this, they created a website for Mark Yudof, which is the president of the University of California system. And on this website, they list resignation on his part. And the reasons that he lists for it is that he's out of touch with the needs of the university, and it really becomes this sort of political piece. Now, I want to show you a very brief movie, and what it is or a very brief video. It's the a preview for a Yes Men movie. The Yes Men are culture jammers, and they practice this sort of identity correction. And when you watch this preview, notice what they've done, and notice what the media's response to it is, and then how they sort of describe it.
Well, joining us live from Paris now is Jude Finisterra. He's a spokesman for Dow Chemicals.
Today, I'm very happy to announce that for the first time, Dow is accepting full responsibility for the Bhopal catastrophe.
This interview was inaccurate.
The hoax was an elaborate one.
The prank knocked 3% off Dow shares.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a hoax. It's an honest representation of what Dow should be doing.
Louisiana officials are taken for a ride by the Yes Men.
The Yes Men? The Yes Men travel the world pulling pranks at corporate events.
My name is Fred. I'm from Halliburton.
My name is Francisco Guerrero. I'm Northrop Goody.
I'm with the World Trade Organization.
Erastus Ham is going to be speaking. Ooh.
Sick, twisted.
They say you're a liar.
My name's Mike.
I'm Andy. This is a movie in which the two of us
Fix the world. We want something that's going to be able to save a human being no matter what Mother Nature throws at him. And so this is the Halliburton Survivaball.
We'll be happy to take any questions. Without oil, at least 4 billion people would starve, and starving would become the new black.
Expecting the next knock at the door to be Dow's lawyer.
No idea what Dow will do.
They threatened us. I'm being... are you allowed to do that to me?
We are preparing to go to the Gulf Coast Reconstruction Conference, and CNN is going to be covering it live.
ExxonMobil is earmarking $8.6 billion to finance wetlands rebuilding.
You just pulled off a heck of a hoax.
Thank you.
Maybe it'll take a host like this to bring them out here to see what we're going through.
I thought that was a wonderful thing to do.
This is actually truth-telling, where normally there would only be lies.
If you could demonstrate the turtle position, please, that would be